Good morning, everybody. It's the Friday Die Hard group. Thank you for coming. I think I counted maybe 20 people. I appreciate it. So today we're going to talk about ink in Office and 3D. So Dan is going to start us off with all of the ink support.
Sweet. Thanks, Michelle. Hi, everyone. Whoa, really loud.
Yeah.
I think, as Michelle said, thanks so much for coming in this morning. I think this is the last session. Maybe there's one after this. One more? All right, sweet. Well, almost the last session. So I appreciate you guys coming out on Friday. We'll try and show you some cool stuff. Keep this lighthearted. And just to introduce us, my name is Dan Parrish. I'm a program manager on the Office Graphics team, and this is Michelle. We work together. And yeah, we're here to show you all the new stuff that we're talking about, in particular relating to ink and 3D. So what are we really talking about here? Well, what our team really focuses on is bringing both modern content and modern input into Office. And really that's all about enabling this modern workplace, giving people new ways to work together, to create documents, and really to engage with Office. And so that's modern content includes things like icons and 3D, which we'll be talking about today. Modern input is everything from touch to pen to voice, and we'll be specifically talking about pen and ink today as well. So we're going to start in the modern input space. And really our North Star here is to build natural input experiences that inspire people to create and collaborate no matter where they are. And that last piece, no matter where they are, is really important. Obviously today, Office is super great if you have a keyboard and a mouse and you're sitting at your desk or you're working on your laptop. It really excels in these situations. And we want, of course, to continue to make Office to be amazing in those experiences. But there's also, now that people are becoming more mobile, they're working in all these different locations, the ways that people interact with their machines and the context and the situations vary a lot. And so depending on the modality that you're working in, the types of things that you're doing, essentially the input that is best for that task can vary a lot. If you, again, are sitting at your desk, keyboard and mouse, unbeatable. If you're sitting on a bouncy bus, or maybe you're engaging someone across the table, often in that case, like pen can work better, or you're standing at a digital whiteboard. Or maybe you're cooking, or you're like holding a baby while holding your phone and a tablet, and in those cases, voice is obviously the best way to go. And so and that's really what we want to enable in Office, is enabling you to be productive no matter where you are and no matter what you're doing. So why pen and ink specifically? There's several reasons, and I'm just going to go through a few of them. But the first is really just like, it's fast and easy. People understand how to use this device, right? Like you grew up through school, writing on pieces of paper, filling out quizzes, taking notes. People understand how pen works. And so it's really a natural way to get things done. But also, it enables you to do a ton of things that are just hard to do with conventional computers today, right? Like writing a math equation, that's just difficult. Annotating a document just like you would on a piece of paper, it's also pretty hard. All of these types of things and a lot more are just easier to do with ink and pen, and that's why people today will print out documents and mark them up that way. It also enables you to collaborate more expressively. So we really want to enable you to communicate effectively no matter what you're trying to accomplish. And so you'll see things like, I'll show mail a little bit later, but being able to like annotate a photo to really point out things in that like you want people to reference. So instead of saying like, hey, that like third window to the bottom right in text, you could just circle it and draw an arrow and be like, that's the one I'm talking about, right? Or if you want to just express yourself more naturally or more personally, sometimes like handwriting or drawing a little heart or whatever can be just a really nice way to communicate. It also, as I talked about, is sort of some of the things I'll show are our first step to enabling you to be productive anywhere. And for us, this is really about intelligence, right? Taking your pen, letting you write some things down, and having Office do the work to apply those changes directly to your document. It's really about letting you go from messy content to professional content as quickly as possible. It also enables you to unlock your creativity. Obviously, people are amazing at drawing on pieces of paper and doing all the things that they can do there, but there's just way more tools that we can enable you to have on digital devices. It's a great boost to education. It allows teachers to create lesson plans in new ways, but it also enables students to interact fill out quizzes, take notes in ways that really increase their memory retention, but also enable them to essentially get better test scores because of the way that they're thinking when they're writing. And finally, a lot of corporations like it because it enables them to move more towards a paperless office. Obviously, spending a bunch of money on paper, you can lose them, it's a security risk, there's like all sorts of things that go along with paper. But what we've enabled in Office today enables you to essentially get rid of that if you want. You can definitely do all of the things you can on pen and paper today in Office, directly on your documents, directly in a digital environment. But then on top of that, we are starting to enable new scenarios around intelligence that will enable you to do more of the Be Productive Anywhere piece. This is just another example. Like, all of these different types of things are obviously really hard to go and create in any other way than just drawing with your finger or a pen or whatever else the right device may be. So how Microsoft in general thinks about ink is really about it being natural and expressive. We want it to always be ready for you, and you'll see that today. We've really made it such that when you bring your pen to Office or even your finger, you're able to ink really quickly and easily no matter where you are. We want it to be pervasive and consistent across Windows. We, of course, make all of our stuff work, and I'll talk about this in just a second, on iOS and Android devices. But on Windows, and in particular with Surface and our OEM partners, we can really enable these complete experiences that are consistent across the entire user journey, across their entire operating system. And the last is really about making it intelligent and magical, right? Like, this is a new way to interact with devices, and so we want it to enable you to do new things, but also just to be fun, right? Like, people love their pen and paper, they love their Moleskine notebooks. They're not just going to switch to a digital device unless it has additional capabilities that give them more power. And that's part of what we're enabling in the intelligence space, but then we also just want it to be a little whimsical and just enjoyable when you're actually doing these things. And in particular, when we look at the EDU market, that's something that they really enjoy. It also supports the modern workplace. In particular, when we're talking about millennials and Gen Z, the way that they work is completely different than we've worked in the past. 32% of employees spend under 50% of their time actually in the office. Gen Z in particular, 5+ devices, millennials 3+ devices, just to accomplish most basic workflows. It's pretty crazy even to me. Collaborative, people love anything that enables them to communicate with each other quickly and easily. 52% of people will try technology if it enables them to be more productive. And again, another in particular hallmark for millennials and Gen Z is that they're idealistic. They will value characteristics and innovation because if it gives them a sense of purpose. And so really that's what we're trying to enable, that they can feel good about Microsoft and they can feel good about whatever company you are supporting in terms of you giving them the tools to accomplish and work in new ways. And then again, we want it to be better than pen and paper. We want it to be the best way to enhance existing content, the optimal way to create professional content while you're on the fly, and the fastest way to digitize and remember your thoughts. And finally, Microsoft Ink really harnesses the capabilities of amazing hardware. We, of course, as I mentioned earlier, work really closely with Surface and with OEM partners to really enable great experiences. And if you have any of these pen-enabled devices, of which most Windows laptops these days are, even if they don't directly come with a pen, you can quickly and easily start transitioning people into this other way of working. We also work really closely with Apple for things like enabling these types of experiences on the iPad, as well as Samsung on Android, in particular like Galaxy Note type devices. You'll actually notice that one of the things they just released is that this pen that I'm using right here, which I've been using to move forward and back on slides, also works on like your Android device as well. And then, like I said, these capabilities are now available everywhere that you work. So whether that's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, of course, people expect that, Visio, the Mail app, across all of the different platforms, Windows, Android, iOS, and across all of your different devices, from all-in-one type devices like a Surface Studio to, of course, laptops like your Surface, Surface Pro or many of the HP or Lenovo or YogaBook, to tablets like your iPad, to just mobile phones like the Galaxy Note. Ink in Office is supported across all of these different devices. And then finally, just to summarize, Office is really on a mission to make ink, natural, powerful, and expressive. The natural part is all about, you just pick up this pen and you know how to use it. You put it to the screen, it'll start inking. The powerful piece is around intelligence and bringing new capabilities to what you can do with pen and ink when you're on a digital device. And the expressive part is all about enabling you to communicate in different ways and just express yourself in ways that you would have never done otherwise. So let me talk a little bit about how we got here, because also sort of depending where you are on 2016 versus like 0365 deployment lifecycle, you may see some different experiences. So basically, about 2.5 years ago, shortly after Office 2016 Perpetual was released, we started working in this pen and ink space. And when we started, essentially your pen didn't really do much and did nothing by default. You would put it to the screen in Office and it would select things and start moving them around, and it was super confusing for people. So the very first thing we did was just make it work. And so if you put your pen to the screen in any of the Office applications, it will ink. There's a Draw tab, which was the first new tab that we added to the ribbon since 2007, which we added to enable people to quickly and easily get to these capabilities. And we worked really closely with our Windows partners to enable fast, smooth, consistent inking capabilities, so that whether you're in Office or on any of the other Windows applications, using your pen feels just like it would on a piece of paper. The latency on these devices is well under 20 milliseconds, so it feels like you can't even notice. It's pretty incredible. The next thing that we did was work on sort of building out some key technologies, and for those we really shipped several features over the past couple of years, which I'll highlight in a little bit. The first is around contextual inking. So now we know when you ink on a document what you're inking on top of. So if you're in Word and you cross out a word, we know what word you just crossed out. Next is around simultaneous touch and pen, enabling different types of multimodal experiences to interact with your devices. Custom ink rendering technology, so that we can create essentially these more like fanciful type pens, but also it enables us to, going forward, create a bunch of things that we think will be really relevant in the enterprise as well. And then, of course, ink recognition technologies. We've integrated with the Windows both local ink recognition libraries, but then also with this new ink analysis service that we've been working really closely together on, which will enable us to deliver the intelligent inking capabilities across all the apps and all of your different devices. Whether, in particular, like a lot of these ink recognition models are super large, but if you're on a mobile phone, you don't want to be downloading like hundreds of megabytes of reco tech. But now with it being in the service, it can just be there. It's always on. It's always available for you. And it will just continue to get better over time. And then going forward, what we're really looking at is empowering modern achievers. Empowering the people who are working in this new modern workplace to be productive no matter where they are, to be present and focused. This is one of the ways where when you're taking notes sitting across the table from someone, sort of like having a screen up and typing in front of them is less optimal than just being able to handwrite your notes. Being expressive in how you communicate, being able to communicate in new different types of ways, and then just building coherent experiences across the entire Windows operating system as well. Let me show you a quick video here.
When kids are coming into my classroom, they know that Mr. Jackson is the rapping teacher. We call it the remainder. That's the number that remains. Technology is a huge piece of education. Using the pen for the first time on the Windows 10 PC is great. I'm able to highlight different rhyme schemes. I can actually see my lines when I'm shading in. I can change the weight, drawing directly on my screen. I couldn't do this on my Mac. I can definitely see the future happening. I mean, I feel like the sky's the limit.
So that was one of the commercials that came out over the past year. The really great thing about all of these types of featured commercials that Windows came out with is these are all real people, right? These are not people that they went and recruited and said, hey, learn this thing, and they're not actors, right? These are real people, and this is how they're using it in their day-to-day life. And so you can see here in the education setting how it really enabled this rapping teacher to really engage the students and work in new and different types of ways. So now I'm going to show you some of these things. And I'm going to show you these demos across 4 different pillars. First is about creating with your pen in Office. Second is about collaborating with others. Third is about reviewing content. And then the last one will be about polishing that content. So I'm going to start with Yes, some of the creation type things. So the first thing that I'm going to do is actually exit out of here, and I'll move into OneNote. Oh, it's giving things away. And so what I want to do is just show you a few different things. First thing you'll notice is at the very top, there's this new Draw tab up here, which we've added about a year and a half ago. This pen toolbox roams with you across all of your different devices and all of the applications. So whether you're using Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, doesn't matter. This set of pens will be consistent, and as you add them and change them, it'll move with you. It's essentially your digital pencil case, just like you would have like back when you were at school, and it enables you to add and create and customize your device. It roams with your O365 account, so if I opened it on a different machine, like hopefully later I'll be able to show it on the iPad. It's having some issues. But if I do, you'd see that the exact same pen toolbox would be available there as well. And so first thing is, of course, there's sort of like these regular pens, right? Like I can write like, hi everyone, and it works great. Latency is super low, everything works amazing. The key part, of course, is that I just took my pen, I brought it to the screen, and it wrote effortlessly. But because it's a digital device, I can also use some of these other types of pens which just wouldn't be possible on a pen and paper, right? So this, for instance, is Rainbow. And Rainbow actually, in fact, all of these ink effects have an interesting backstory where we didn't have any of these. One of our OneNote PMs was actually at a school talking to students, talking about actually using their pen in OneNote and getting feedback on that, and asked, hey, like if you could have any capability, what would it be? And some little girl yelled out rainbows, and all of the other kids went nuts. And they were like, oh my God, rainbows, blah, blah, blah. And so actually that was the catalyst to go and build this. And one of the things that's pretty amazing is like a significant percentage, especially in EDU, of our pen and ink usage is in these effect colors, which if I expand this menu, there's 8 effects at the bottom: rainbow, galaxy, lava, water, and then a bunch of sort of metal effects. In EDU, those are heavily used things. But even in the enterprise, people will use them because they tend to either allow people to express themselves in different ways, or they just work really well against like different types of backdrops. Like if you're annotating a photo, like Rainbow Pen actually works really well just because it stands out sort of no matter the colors that end up being in that picture pretty much because of the gradients and things. There's also Galaxy and a bunch of others. And so these are different types of course, things that just wouldn't be possible with a regular pen, right? Like we can't have a pen that does some sort of like background thing like this, but on a digital device, we can start enabling these new types of experiences. But also, and again, if I'm in like more of a school type setting in OneNote, I might want to do math, right? So I don't know, let's go 25. If I select this and click math, you'll see it recognized all of my handwriting, converted it into actual math, and while this formula is relatively simple, obviously the other ones are much harder, and I can convert that right there into actual printed text. But I can also do things like I can solve for x, so in this case x equals 7. Nice, I came up with an example that actually ends up being a whole number. You can figure out how to go and solve that whole equation, and so if you're a student, these types of tools are really valuable, right? You can be taking notes, you can be learning how to do things, but then of course you can use these to go and actually understand, how to actually solve a problem if you are having any particular problem. So I'm going to switch back to PowerPoint here. Oops. And another capability that we added is essentially this pencil effect, which it's really interesting as we've done usability studies. All of this ink is just digital and totally temporary, right? Like I can take this, purple pen. It's hard to see, of course, but I wrote here and I'm just scribbling along the thing, but I can just turn my pen over and with the back, I can erase it. It's just digital. It doesn't make any difference whether it's a pen or a highlighter or a pencil or whatever else. But when we talk to people, they actually feel much more comfortable writing in a pencil for things that are draft or temporary versus a pen, even though, of course, it's technically the same thing. But it also enables you to have just sort of different types of feels, right? So in this case, it feels very like chalky, right? But also, we've also added other capabilities like tilt support. And here I'm showing another feature called the ruler, which has a bunch of different capabilities. Obviously, it's a ruler, but as I use 2 fingers, I can turn it. If I use 3 fingers, it'll move at 5-degree notches to enable you to be much more precise. And if I use 1 finger, it'll move on a parallel to enable me to draw multiple parallel lines. In this case, I'm just going to sort of assume that I want to draw something on this math equation here, maybe out like this. And then the other thing that you can do is your digital pen on Surface devices and on iPad devices in particular supports tilt. And so we can enable a much more real-life experience with this thing. So I can just go ahead and fill this in, and as I tilt it more, you'll see it will shade much more just like a real pencil would. But also, like, you'll notice that I have some icons over here on the side. These are sometimes a little hard to drag, but we'll see if I can do it. Actually, let me just do it this way. The other capability, sort of like hidden feature that this ruler has, is that I can actually go and align objects to it. So I can align objects in ways that are just sort of difficult to do. That are just sort of difficult to do otherwise. So, you know, PowerPoint has all sorts of great guides, but it's hard to do things like what I just did, which is align things consistently on a diagonal or on anything else. So the ruler has all sorts of capabilities that really enable you to work and experience things in different ways. And the last thing I wanted to show, if I switch back to PowerPoint here, because I didn't bring yet another device, is we also support all of this stuff as of, I think, just a week or 2 ago on the Mac. And so this was actually one of the #1 feature requests that we had in this area was pen and ink support on the Mac, which seems a little counterintuitive because obviously there's no digital pen for the Mac. There is a touchpad, and so we've enabled different types of ways to interact with this via your touchpad. However, on Office, for Windows even, we just still see a lot of inking usage happen via mouse. And so we do see, obviously, if you have a digital pen, and you are far more likely to ink significantly more and continue to use it in your day-to-day flow. But as like a percentage of overall usage, touch is obviously very high. That makes a lot of sense because it's pretty easy to do with touch. But mouse, in particular for just like quick annotations, like drawing a little arrow or circling something, is like, in terms of overall usage, is still really heavily used. So it really also shows some of the value of just these like annotations on different types of photos and things like that. Next thing I wanted to show was some of the collaboration capabilities that we have. So the first thing I'll just show you really quickly here is, of course, in slideshow itself, you can just ink, right? You can take your pen to the screen in slideshow, go ahead, mark up content. And this has obviously been in PowerPoint for a long time, and it's something that people use quite frequently. Another app that we just came out with recently is Whiteboard, and so I'm going to show a quick video about Whiteboard here.
Our imagination comes alive with a place to play, and the whiteboard is a space to bring our ideas to life. What if we could bring the whiteboard into our digital world and create together in completely new ways? Introducing Microsoft Whiteboard, a new app designed to bring the collective power of the group to life.
As an ad agency, Whiteboard allows us to share our ideas from anywhere instantly. It's become a natural extension of how we work today.
Draw, type, add an image or a note. Watch your ideas take shape. And take your team's creativity to new heights.
Collaborating on Whiteboard is pretty seamless. It kind of feels like there's a flow or an energy where you're just kind of playing off of somebody else. You draw something, they draw right next to it. It's like this conversation that's happening visually.
Whiteboard together in real time from wherever you are. Pick up where someone else left off or start from scratch. When you're done, you're done. Your ideas are safe in the cloud. Welcome to a new way to whiteboard.
So the Whiteboard app is available cross-platform. Obviously, it's heavily used on digital whiteboards as well. That's like its main use case. But it also has Windows 10 clients, and clients for other operating systems as well, so that you can collaborate with others in a conference room, even if one person's at the screen, all of you can be working together. The other piece, and I've sort of touched on this a bunch just as sort of a way to communicate more expressively, is obviously like Outlook and mail. So here I have a mail that I've started to draft to someone on my team who's been doing a great job recently, and I know that she really likes hedgehogs. So I'm just going to go ahead and insert a picture. And look, I happen to have a picture of a hedgehog right here. Oh my goodness. And similarly, there's a draw tab, and I can do things like, I don't know, let's go with maybe this lava-y color, because it sort of matches the hat. And I can point it out and be like, whoa, this hedgehog has a Christmas hat on. But then I can also sort of just scroll down and maybe write a slightly more personal note, right? So, you know, something like thanks, and sign it with my name, and then I can just go ahead and send that, and now she's gonna get an email she wasn't expecting with a hedgehog. But like, it's just a really different way, again, to communicate. These are types of things that are just hard to do. We tend to see a lot of people working this way today, but what they do is they will end up like snipping something and maybe annotating it in the snipping app, or actually a lot of times since we've added the digital pen and capability to PowerPoint, they will snip things, paste it into PowerPoint, copy the whole thing, and then paste it as a picture into Outlook or Mail. And so what we're starting to do with Mail right there, as you saw, is really enable these type of capabilities right there in the actual Mail app itself. Especially as you're looking at sort of completing these end-to-end workflows that people want to go through. One of the things that we found is if we have like big gaps, like Mail being one, where obviously a lot of people's workflows obviously go through email, then you tend to like put your pen down and not pick it up. You tend to just sort of continue to use whatever tool you were using at the time. And so what we want to do is enable you to like be using your pen to create in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, wherever you may be. But then as you transition to Mail, continue to use that same tool to accomplish your tasks and still communicate in different ways. The next thing I wanted to talk about was the review scenario. And this is where we start to get into some of the more intelligent capabilities. So there's two things I'm going to show here. The first one, just really quickly I'll show, is Ink Replay. So Ink Replay enables you to actually just, as I said, replay the ink. This is available in all of the different apps. And really it's, let me put it back this way. In particular, it's good for scenarios where understanding how things were drawn really matters. This is sort of maybe like not the best example, but I just wanted to show a quick example. So you can say, hey, I want to replay like this particular space, and I can sort of walk through how that ink was drawn. And again, depending on the type of scenario that I'm going for, like this can actually be really interesting just to sort of understand the author's thoughts. But the other thing I wanted to show you was Ink Editor in Word. And so one of the main reasons that we see people print out documents today is to mark them up, annotate them, and then later on they have to go back to their computer and then transcribe all of those changes. But with Ink Editor, you don't have to do that anymore. You can actually just come in and say, hey, actually, the first thing I'll show you is actually I can open this help pane with all of the gesture help. And assuming that the internet is working, excellent. This opens a task pane that shows me all of the different capabilities that Ink Editor has. We actually just added this a few months ago because we were doing some usability studies, obviously, about how people interacted with these types of gestures on their digital device. And one of the things we found was we would give them a printout with all of the gestures and put it next to them and have them go through, and they would be able to accomplish all of the tasks, no problem. And then we would take it away and say, hey, continue working, and they would immediately forget what they were doing. And so that's why we've added this capability here. It's enabled people to be much more successful in how they use this feature. But really, that success part is really just as we get into sort of the more advanced commands. The very basic ones, like scribble, circle, and caret, no one has a problem with because those are the things they do on paper today, right? Everyone just knows how to do those things, like, oh, I don't want this thing, so I scribble it out. Oh, I want to like call attention to this thing, so I circle it. Oh, I want to like add a little word in here. Like these are all just gestures that you use today. But unless, of course, you're an actual copy editor, once you start getting further down, it gets a little more tricky. But let me show you some gestures here. So I'm just going to go ahead and click Ink Editor, and now it's on. And as I start working with this document, my changes will just immediately take effect. So I can, whoops, what happened there? Sorry, I think I hit my keyboard because I have my device in this keyboard mode. But I can just split this word, and that word gets split. No, I don't want to make that a resume right now. Maybe I want noteworthy to actually be one word. Whoa. Real life demo. Okay, anyway. You can see that noteworthy became one word there. And maybe actually noteworthy accomplishments is really important. So I'm just going to go ahead. Wow. Well, it's real life, isn't it? Let's try that one more time. There we go. And now I can, make that red or whatever else to call it out. And if I want to sort of add a word here, like great, I can just go ahead and write that. It'll automatically get inserted. And then actually maybe that sound, I don't really need all of this piece here, so I can just scribble it out and it'll get deleted. So I can make these changes directly on my digital device, just like I would on pen and paper, but the advantage is now I don't need to go and retranscribe all of those changes. I just do them, it works. If you're not on a stage, I guarantee it works more flawlessly than it does right there. But all of these things just continue to work, and they enable you, again, to just be even more productive than you were before, because now you're sort of skipping entire steps. In particular, we've talked to law firms that do a lot of this, and they love this feature because it enables, they spend a lot of time marking up these giant documents, and then they have like whole rooms of people that essentially transcribe all of these changes. All of the capabilities I just showed you work great with track changes, so if you have track changes on your document, all of the changes that you make will continue to be marked and tracked appropriately. And so even for documents that have more legal, obviously, obligations towards them, like these features still work flawlessly. And then the last thing I wanted to show you was just around polishing your work. So there's a few different things here. Obviously, one is once the presentation is done and you want to go and present it, this device can be used in many different ways, not just, of course, to actually go ahead and draw and create and work in different ways. Like I'm using it right here just as a clicker, which I just can carry around with me and works great. In particular, we see in meetings just on our own team, we'll be using this to navigate slides, and instead of having to take the machine and slide it over to someone else, you just toss them this pen and then they can navigate through their own section of the document. It's great. But I want to show you two other things. The first is around intelligent ink and PowerPoint. So PowerPoint is the first place where we've really taken the ink analysis service that I mentioned earlier and integrated it into our app. And this will be rolling out, again, across Word and Excel and all these other apps in the future. But you can start to get a taste for how we can enable some of these new scenarios. So here I have a pretty complete PowerPoint deck, but it's obviously missing a title. So I'm just going to go ahead and write, this keyboard is in my way. I'm just going to go ahead and write interior design here, which is probably what it should be. And one thing you'll notice is on the top right-hand side of that little box, a little widget appears because it's smart and understands, hey, I just wrote some ink on this. Maybe I want to go ahead and actually convert that. So if I convert it into text, it will convert that ink into text, put it right in the title placeholder. And now as I change the slide using PowerPoint Designer or whatever else, that of course will stay in the right spot because it's really, that is now the title of the document. I can also come over here and I have some, I've marked up some stuff around how I feel like this should probably sort of make sense for what I want to be there. But now I want to go ahead and actually just sort of finalize that. So I can just take these things, convert them into text, and all of that will get converted into text. And I can come over here, convert all of these into shapes. Now they're all shapes. And then I can, maybe just still call some things out that I want these things to go this way. And again, now my slide is looking great. And then I want to show you one other thing, which this is sort of a sneak peek. It's available now, but we haven't actually discussed it broadly. The other great thing just about intelligence and what it enables you to do is it enables us to expose features to our customers that are already in the products they're using, right? Like you guys are already paying for all of these capabilities if you have an Office 365, if you have Office 365. But there's so many things in here that not everyone actually can know what they all are. And so if we can expose some of the capabilities of Office in new ways, it will enable people to create in new ways as well. So one thing I'm going to do here is draw a heart. And if I convert this heart into a shape, you'll see it actually stayed as a rainbow-shaped heart, which is pretty awesome. And then I'm just gonna write like, hey, maybe I love this. So I'll like put love there. And then that will convert into rainbow text within that rainbow heart. Now, the first thing I'll point out is when engineers showed me this, I was like, how did you do this? I didn't even, I have no idea what you did. But it turns out, of course, that these capabilities just exist in Office. But I didn't even know that you could have like rainbow text literally go through, a rainbow effect literally go through text. But now this is actually applied to the shape, right? So I could change it to be like love this. And as I do that, and as I make changes, all of these things still apply. And as I added new text, the rainbow effect still continued to move through all of those different types of things. And so again, I'm just exposing new capabilities to people that again were always there, but that even I, who works in Office, didn't even know existed. And I think, oh right, and then the last thing that I wanted to show was just another way to sort of help clean up documents. So these are just another type of way that we can add intelligence even into like pretty basic things. So this is sort of maybe an extreme example, but this is a car, obviously, but it was drawn with a ruler, and so it's hard to be like really precise. And so one of the things that we found is when people draw like stars, there's always like a little bit of an overhang, or in this case where the car, there's like all these different types of overhangs. But like now you're using a digital device, right? Like we can be smarter and help you be more productive in these scenarios. So I turned on this segment eraser, which again you can see here, segment eraser. And as I move to erase, you'll see it's smart and just goes automatically to the nearest intersection. So it cleans up my entire drawing like super, super easily, and it looks great. And I can use the same thing over here, for example. There's another one where like, architecture people need things to be like very precise, and I can just go ahead and get rid of all the different types of things. And they, in particular in architecture, they'll use the ruler a lot, which ends up with a lot of these different types of lines. And so adding these types of capabilities are things that we can do just to make people more productive quickly and easily, just like that. And so with that, I'm going to hand it off to Michelle, who's going to talk about 3D. And I'm going to try and push the right button.
Here we are. Hi, everybody. Thank you again for coming. My name is Michelle. I'm a senior program manager at Microsoft in the Office organization. And like Dan said, we work together. So today, really what I wanted to walk you through is sort of the journey of 3D and how 3D is showing up in the Microsoft ecosystem. 3D has made some amazing advancements over the past few years, sort of with AR and VR taking a foothold. And I don't know how many of you have had a chance to sort of experience virtual reality with sort of like the immersive headset, but it's freaking awesome. And so I wanted to just sort of show you what we're doing today in Office to support 3D. Use a clicker. So a question I hear a lot is, why 3D? Like, why should I care about 3D? How should I use it in my applications or my workflow? What purpose does it serve? There's still kind of a bit of a quantum leap for people to understand sort of how 3D is applicable to their particular situation. So I just kind of wanted to show you some examples of, this is a great quote I heard from one of my coworkers actually. So if a picture says 1,000 words, a 3D model says 1,000 pictures. And I think what that captures is really the impact and the power that 3D has on communication and engagement and sort of just creativity. So, aside from being really cool, it's kind of changing the way we connect with people and information and experiences. And really in the past, there's only been a few people who've been able to access 3D because it requires a lot of technical skill, to either author a 3D model or just to use it in general. So, it's really becoming a lot more ubiquitous and commonplace that you'll see it in gaming and VR and Office and Windows. So you're going to start seeing 3D become more and more present in your sort of everyday life. And so, there have been a lot of studies that have shown sort of what is the power of 3D. And so studies have shown it improves comprehension, it improves engagement, and it promotes creativity. So a lot of this is kind of based in the education sphere, but it's also starting to kind of bleed over into sort of productivity and your sort of enterprise workflows. So, in terms of sort of improving visualization, you can sort of use a mixed reality viewer, which I'm not going to show here today, but you can take 3D objects and sort of project them out into space and sort of, bring this whole new sort of, level of understanding to the world around you. And then imagining in 3D, it's sort of, you're really building like spatial intelligence and creativity skills. So there's a lot to offer here. So that it's just a matter of sort of more people understanding what it is and using it on a daily basis. So that sort of, this is a bit of an eye chart, so don't worry too much about sort of all the details. But the point here is like, if you look at the enterprise space, you can envision like, hey, I'm a mechanical engineer. I have 3D graphics of maybe jet engines. I want to be able to, showcase different elements of that jet engine. I can label it. I can, turn it around. I can showcase it, and it really communicates so many more levels of information than sort of a 2D image. You can really sort of, show the power of that object. And then something like you can imagine in Excel where maybe you're doing parts for an object. You can use that object to sort of specify what parts belong to which aspect of the object. And so it just kind of, again, communicates effectively a lot more information. And then in the education space, this is where we're seeing the hugest draw for 3D. Like, teachers absolutely love 3D. They're just climbing all over themselves to sort of say, we want more 3D objects to sort of help with teaching, with just basic teaching aid. And kids really, they get it. They just sort of, they see these things, they get excited, they kind of understand what they're for, and it's really helping to sort of improve their ability to comprehend complex information. And then on the social side, it's just fun, right? I mean, some of these 3D objects that I'm going to show you are, make people laugh. They look at them and they go, that's really cool, so that's kind of the first reaction I see a lot from sort of looking at a variety of different 3D objects. And so, you look at Minecraft. Minecraft has, over 50 different 3D objects in their ecosystem. So it's popping up in different places all over Microsoft. And so if we look at sort of our ecosystem wheel of what is Microsoft as a whole doing for 3D, it's sort of broken out into four main elements of sort of creation. On the creation side, we have Minecraft, where you can create 3D objects, and then Paint 3D, which is a little lesser known application, but is becoming sort of more popular, where you can go in and you can sort of build your own 3D objects. And then in terms of the content and community, we have Remix 3D, which is user-generated content where people can create their own 3D objects and submit them to Remix, and then they can be used by anyone. And we also have a catalog of over 7,000 different what we call first-party 3D objects, which means our technical artists have created them in-house, and we host them on Remix 3D. You'll also find 3D in Bing and Xbox, so it's kind of splattered. And then in terms of sort of the consumption, all of the Office applications right now support 3D, so you can insert into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, even Outlook. And we also have SharePoint support, Dynamics, OneDrive, and then if you look at the physical sort of consumption, you can even do 3D printing. So there's, again, a lot of possibilities. And then in terms of devices and platforms, you'll see HoloLens, you'll see the Acer HMD displays, you have your Surface devices, and then we have a lot of great standards like the GLTF standard, which is helping promote sort of the 3D, what we call the GLB format, as well as Babylon.js, which supports 3D in web immersive experiences. So here's just a quick video that I want to show you about sort of how you can use 3D in PowerPoint. You'll notice a reference here to Remix 3D, which is important to understand that Office actually just uses all the same content from Remix 3D, so it's sort of built in, and I'll show you that later. But let's just sort of go through this video and pretty cool, huh? So there's a lot of possibility. Yes, 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 I want more, yeah. I'll pay you later. Okay, so now what I want to do is just sort of walk you through sort of it's not a demo, but just some examples of like, let's say I'm working for the Contoso Corporation. I'm a marketing representative and I really want to sort of, I want to showcase this new quadricopter drone, and I'm speaking to some clients and like, wow, here's our new Contoso Mark 8. Check this out. Like, if you were someone who was going to be buying this device, like, wouldn't it be cool if you could sort of really see it in a lot of different angles? It really conveys a lot more information. Again, what you just saw there is the morph transition. So I can take a 3D object, I can use the PowerPoint morph to sort of move it in a different direction, and then also apply sort of what we call a canned animation. So a lot of 3D objects, there's sort of two different kinds of animation. There's what we call canned animations that you can apply to an object, and there are also 3D objects that have embedded animations, which means the animation is sort of built into the object itself. And so again, I'll show you sort of what the difference in that looks like. So this here represents like the pan and zoom feature. So that same drone, what I did is I just panned down to just the camera itself, and then I applied sort of a swing animation. So again, it's sort of, you can sort of hone in on different aspects of an object and really sort of show the power of that thing. And here's the big reveal. This is what we call an embedded animation. So here's a good example of where I have, what happened here. Let's go back. Don't kill my big reveal. This is, Well, maybe we have an issue where embedded animations doesn't work in presentation view, but the point here was that this thing was supposed to explode and you can see all the different parts. I'm not really sure why you're not seeing that, but I will demo it to you in just a second. So that's kind of a bummer. I was expecting a lot of cool things. Same here, this object sort of breaks apart, and so I don't really know why that's not working. That's too bad. And again, there's the sort of a morph transition where you could sort of show that, let's go back again, that happens sort of fast. Work with me here, come on. Nope. It doesn't like it. It's not accepting my input here.
I'm Shree Bose.
I think we got way ahead of ourselves. Let's see if I can do it this way. Thank you for your patience. 1 second, please. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to just demo it for you because I think that's going to be the best way to sort of show you what's going on here. Does it work in yours?
Let's check. Yep. Okay, go this one. Push.
Which number is
8.
it?
8. Yeah, that is.
Yes. Okay. Woohoo! Thank you for saving the day. And so here's our big reveal embedded animation. So this is a good example of where now you can take an object and it has these sort of built-in animations. So imagine, again, I'm trying to sell this drone and I want to sort of like showcase all the different elements. And the next one, let's hope this one works too. Here's another example where, wow, now I can actually see this thing being built in real time. I won't show you the whole animation, but that's a good example of, wow, that's really powerful, right? If I was going to be trying to get someone to understand something, I could really convey a lot of information. Okay, so now let's get into the actual, how do I do this? It's very simple. So let's assume I have a PowerPoint presentation. I can go to Insert. We have this little button here, 3D Model. So there's two options here. You can either insert from a file. So let's say you already have a lot of 3D assets in your company that you're using on a daily basis. So here I can just go to my desktop. I can pull in that object, and it'll just insert it into my deck. Let me just make it a little larger here so we can see what that thing is. So what I hear from people a lot is, hey, my company already has a lot of sort of 3D assets. Maybe you're an architecture firm or, like I said, mechanical engineering. So they want to be able to sort of bring those into the Office suite and use them. But let's go to the cool stuff, which is actually our online catalog. So 3D models from online sources. And so what you're going to see here is we have a catalog of over 7,000 different 3D objects, and it ranges from fun stuff like emojis, which ironically is one of the most popular categories, sorry for the poop, but this one we see used quite a bit, as well as animals. Animals is really popular, again, and you can sort of see it's a bit more sort of education focused, but we also have things like, you know, Microsoft products if you wanted to show different devices or hardware. Or let's say you're interested in electronics and gadgets. So there's just a wealth of different things here. Then you're also going to see now 3 new categories that are animated models. So these represent objects that have those embedded animations. So let's go into one of these categories. And you're going to see a lot of different things here that unfortunately they don't animate as you're looking at them, so it's a little hard to sort of see what they do until you actually insert them. But we'll be working on being able to sort of hover over that object and sort of see it move, so it gives you a little bit more context. So some of these are whimsical and fun. This is my favorite. I'm just going to put it in here because I really like it a lot, and I think it's very funny. And it tends to get a good laugh out of people. It's not enterprise focused at all, but you know, it's Friday and it's kind of a fun thing to do. So here I've got this little dog, and he's kind of, let's see if I can get him rotated around here. Where'd you go, buddy? Why are you over that way? Let's try this again. Insert 3D models from online sources. Let's go back to all animated models. Let's find our little friend here. Insert that. So now as you watch, he's sort of chewing gum, and he kind of blows a bubble, and now he's going to start to sort of float away out of the range of view. So something like this, you know, again, it's kind of fun, but it just kind of shows you what's possible. And then what's also interesting is that you can go to, there's a variety of different scenes that are baked into these embedded animations. So let me show you another example where we can take something that has a variety of different scenes. We'll go all animated models. The one that's very popular again is the T-Rex. Takes a second because it's quite large. I actually even came up with a joke while we were waiting for these to insert, but I don't have to do it now because it was faster than I expected. So here again, like, I can sort of turn this thing around, I can look at it. Now I go to, you'll also see there's different views that are sort of built in. So if I don't want to rotate the object, I can sort of pre-select which way I want that object to sort of be in my presentation. So let's go back to sort of the standard mode. And then I want to show you the scenes here. So you'll see that there are 5 different scenes. So let's go through them. If I choose scene 2, here he's going to be sort of, you know, growling. If I go to scene 3, he's going to be, you know, doing something else. So there's all these different sort of ways that you can use these embedded animations and sort of tell stories either in your, you know, workflow or just in your presentations. And again, this works in Excel and PowerPoint and Outlook, so it's very, very powerful. And then, like I showed you in the demo example, I can do something that's like pan and zoom. So here is an example where I right-click, then I can sort of, you know, zoom into this object. Let's see if I can do this without a mouse. No. There we go. So let's say I just want to look at his face. So you have the ability to sort of, it's almost like cropping your object and being able to just see a very specific section of it. So again, it's a very, very powerful and interesting thing to do. And you can pause these animations, you can play them. But let's also look at, say, I want to just insert a static object. I'm not really interested in sort of an embedded animation. So pick a category, just throw one out, and I'll insert something. What looks interesting? Minecraft. Which one? Minecraft? Okay. The best of Minecraft. Okay, let's do this guy. Let's insert that object. Let's make it a little larger. Okay, I'll kind of rotate it so I can get a different angle. So now I go into the animations tab, and you'll see that there's a series of different options here. I can arrive, turntable, swing, jump and turn. This one's kind of fun. It's ridiculous, but you know, that's something like that. Or I can just sort of show it sort of swinging back and forth, so it kind of gives it a little bit more, it's a little bit more dynamic. Or here it's a turntable, so again, you sort of take that object and sort of show it in motion. So that's what we sort of call a canned animation that you can apply to the object itself. Let's see, what was my next? So I think that you can also, I just want to show you there's sort of effect options as well. So it's endless what you can sort of do with this in terms of sort of I want it to rotate up, or I want it to rotate clockwise. You know, so that again, there's a lot of effect options that you can apply to that object. You can do a continuous, let's say, you know, I just want this thing to keep going and going. So it's kind of a rat hole of things that you can start to do with 3D and applying different effects to them. So, was there anything else I wanted to show you? I think that was sort of the majority of it. And let me switch back here.
I'm Sri Bose, and I am a medical student. I was 15, and my grandfather passed away of cancer. I wanted to start doing cancer research. I think science can be an incredible force for good. This Windows 10 PC is great. It's really cool to have these like 3D visualizations. You can see like the cell's membranes. Half of science is about convincing the world that what you're working on matters. I want to be making the discoveries that help people live better lives.
So thank you again for joining. We're gonna just open up for questions. If you have any questions, burning desires, anything, Bueller?
But yeah, thanks so much for coming, everyone.
Oh, we
and
have a
yes, we'll of
question.
course take questions, but yes, we really appreciate you coming on like the very last day.
She has
So,
a question.
yep. Yep. Yes, of course. So Ink Editor is basically a button that you enable on the Draw tab. If you don't enable it, you're just in like annotation mode. And so you'll just be marking up the document just like it's a piece of paper. Once you click that button to turn on the intelligence, then that's when all of the intelligence starts happening. We are looking like through the next like year about like how we can start finding some opportunities where like maybe we want to do the smart things on purpose. But for now, at least, they're all behind a button. And even then, of course, we would always make sure that the basic annotation, the basic like, hey, I have a piece of paper and I just want to do that on my digital device scenario continues to work. Because that is really the main thing that people are doing today. Yep. So the question was, in OneNote, is there a way to lock the inking such that if you're adding other things, it'll move around? The short answer is no, not right now. In particular, Word and Excel, that the ink will be locked. So as you move things, in particular vertically, or if you add rows and columns in Excel, like all of the ink will move and adjust appropriately. In OneNote today, there isn't, but that's a great piece of feedback. So thank you. Sweet. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you'd have to check the actual like piece of hardware, but most Windows laptops at this point that are touch enabled are also pen enabled. We've essentially driven down the cost of like adding the pen enabled capability like so low that it doesn't really make sense to build a touch but not pen enabled laptop. There are, depending on the device, there may be like a specific, like HP or whatever has their own types of pens, but like Wacom makes pens that works on pretty much any sort of OEM device as well, so, yep. Great. Well, thank you all so much for coming, and enjoy the last session of your conference after this one. And then I hope you all have a safe flight home to wherever you're going to. Thank you.